But, Mark, let's keep the conversation going about quarterbacks. And before we get into it, make sure to check out patreon.com/mostvaluable podcast if you want to help support the channel. Last week, we had Shane on talking about the Colts.
Shane O'Mac.
Shane O'Mac. You can be like Shane if you join us at the $10 tier. That link down below in the description. But, Mark, like I said, keeping the quarterback conversation going around. And Ryan Tannehill is cut, or is he, from the Miami Dolphins? And I know Dolphins fans from our NFL draft video we did about them is going to be like, see, I told you so. You said he was going to be here. We told you he was going to be gone. Well, you know what? He's not gone yet, because apparently I'm looking at an article from like an hour ago. The Palm Beach Post, newspaper in Miami, Dolphins' new staff to evaluate Ryan Tannehill before team decides whether to move on from him. Yeah. I will ask you that before we even talk about which team should sign him.
Yep.
Should the Dolphins even get rid of him?
I personally don't think they should, because I don't think Ryan Tannehill is that bad of a quarterback. I think he's just very average. But you know, he's an average one who has a lot of upside to him, although he's 30 years old, so that upside is kind of gone. But anyways, it's just, for the Dolphins, you're not going to win your division next year. You got some new coaching
Brian
staff.
Flores can't come in and be Bill Belichick 2.0.
I don't know. Ask Matt Patricia. You know, you're probably going to start rebuilding sometime in the next few years, which is a shame, because I think that the Dolphins have done smart things. There's just, what do? You get rid of him, and then who starts? Brock Osweiler?
Exactly.
Like, you don't have good options. You're not going to go and get yourself, you know, Joe Flacco. You're not going to trade for Nick Foles. You know, you're probably not going to be the team that goes and gets one of those guys. So you draft a quarterback, I guess, but you're not in a prime spot to really draft one of these top guys. So you end up getting stuck with that next tier, assuming that the Giants or the Jaguars don't go ahead and get themselves one of those top quarterbacks. Maybe you're fortunate and they pass on one of them. But yeah, I just don't see the Dolphins being in a very good situation. So if everybody thinks Ryan Tannehill's bad, you know what? Leave him. Let him play then.
And what's funny is
Get a better draft pick.
Brock Osweiler is a free agent, so they'd have to re-sign him.
Which is probably pretty easy, because who really wants Brock Osweiler?
Right now, the quarterbacks that they have under contract or going to be under contract still is, the first one is Jake Rudock, the old Michigan boy, entering his fourth year in the league, and then Washington State quarterback Luke Falk.
Fun stuff.
Those are the two behind Ryan Tannehill right now. And for me, I think the Dolphins situation is very interesting. Should they cut Ryan Tannehill? Depends. If you want to tank for Tua Tagovailoa, you cut Ryan Tannehill and make Luke Falk your starter. Just start a rookie. Because I know he's not a rookie because he was in the league last year, but he didn't play last year. Start him every single game. The only question is, and this is why I brought up the article about reevaluating with the new staff, is Brian Flores, a guy that's coming from the Patriots system, going to want to tank his first year in Miami? I find that very hard to believe, that he's going to come in and be like, yeah, it's okay, we're going to cut Ryan Tannehill, we're going to suck this year so I can get Tua Tagovailoa. I think he's going to come in with the mindset. It's
really not a football thing to do.
No, it's not. I feel like he's going to come in because of the mindset that he had from New England of like, no, we're going to try to win football games here.
We're all going to do our jobs.
Exactly. And like, it brings up, and this is the whole tanking debate in general, but I'll ask you what you think.
Okay.
It's kind of like what I've seen in like the comment section, whether it's NFL, whether it's in the NBA. How can you build up a culture for winning if you are going to start your tenure as a coach by losing?
That's why you do what the Browns did, and is get yourself a nice scapegoat. Say, we got Hugh Jackson. He's pretty terrible. We'll leave him around for a while. Let him suck. And, hey, now we got a good team for the next guy.
Yeah.
That's what you do. And plenty of teams actually, that's a joke, but plenty of teams do that. I mean, the Chicago Bears did it with John Fox. They knew they weren't probably going to get anywhere with him, so let him go through the struggles. Then you go get your guy you want after you've already established yourself.
That first year with John Fox, they probably thought they were going to go somewhere. Like the very first year.
Sure, there was hope. And then it was, no, this isn't going well. We can get rid of him now, or we can let him suck for a while.
Let me see. John Fox.
I think he went like 5-11 his first year.
Because that first year, and I'm not saying this is a dig this time. Usually I am. That first year with Chicago, that wasn't the Marion Barbarian year. No, that was Lovey. I keep messing that up.
That was a while ago.
That was Lovey. But that first year kind of sucked. He was 6-10.
Yeah.
But I mean, that first year also, Bear fans had hope because you're getting a coach that was 13-3, 13-3, 12-4 with Denver.
I was excited to get John Fox at the time.
But like then that 2016 year, 3-13. And then 11-5, and you're like, enough is
5-11.
enough. Yeah, 5-11. You're like, enough is enough.
11-5, and we fired him.
We got to get rid of. Hey, Lovie Smith got fired after
10-6.
So anything can happen.
Couldn't beat the Packers.
If Ryan Tannehill is a free agent, I will ask you this.
Yep.
Which team should sign him if he's a free agent and the Dolphins cut him?
I mean, it's a tough kind of question to answer because you got to really think about what teams are kind of attempting to accomplish and where they think they are. This is another team who I had mentioned before, but I'm going to go back and say it again. I feel like the Denver Broncos are a team where it might work out. Because like I said, Ryan Tannehill to me is just a average quarterback. He's the kind of guy who's going to go out there and he's not going to necessarily be great and flashy, but you know what? He's not going to make terrible mistakes that probably lose you the game either. He's probably just going to be an all right kind of guy who you can go ahead and let the defense be the shining star. Problem, of course, with that, once again, being, is there enough around him offensively to really let him succeed? I mean, that's kind of been one of the big problems in Miami, especially that Gase struggled with, was really getting the pieces to flourish at the same time that Tannehill was able to flourish. So that's kind of a unfortunate spot. I honestly kind of feel Ryan Tannehill is about to start a career as a journeyman quarterback.
And that was the kind of thing I was going to hit on is Ryan Tannehill, what do you think he is in this offseason? Do you think he's... Because the question you have to ask is he a starter or is he a backup? Like, I think that's the question that teams are going to kind of ask. And I look at his stats from just last year alone, and I know he only played 11 games last year, but if you look at them, they're not bad. Just under 2,000 yards. He's got over a 60% completion percentage. He's almost to 65. He's at 64.2, really close to 64, but only one away from 65. And you look at his touchdowns to INTs every single year except for his rookie year, 24-17, 27-12, 24-12, 19-12, 17-9. He's not a guy that's going to turn over the football. And that's why for me, this could, Denver could work for him. Because Denver, because of their defense, they could be a team that goes, okay, we don't need our quarterback to be Tom Brady. We don't need our quarterback to be Jared Goff. We just need our quarterback not to turn over the football.
Yeah.
That's all we need. And for me, the kind of redundant team that I'm going to throw out there is a team I mentioned in the Nick Foles segment, the Washington Redskins. Because to me, out of all the quarterback-needy teams, I'm starting to think that Washington is the only one that needs a veteran. They need a Joe Flacco. They need a Nick Foles. They need a Ryan Tannehill. They don't need a rookie quarterback. They need that guy like they had in Alex Smith, where it's like, hey, I can trust in this guy, and I don't have to coach him up. I don't have to kind of expect him to learn what the league is. Like a Lamar Jackson would not work with Washington like he kind of is in Baltimore, although we even see with him, he made some mistakes because he is a rookie. The other team I'm going to throw out there, and this is one that I saw it, and at first I went, oh no, you're silly for thinking about that. But the more I think about it, if he's not a starter, why not a team like the Bengals?
Good. You didn't take the team I want to say.
A team where it's like, hey, you know what? I know Andy Dalton before this year had 2 straight seasons of 16 games, but he did get injured this last year. Why don't we go ahead, see if we can get Ryan Tannehill on a cheap contract? He could be the backup to Andy Dalton this year. And if Andy Dalton goes down, we have a veteran in Ryan Tannehill behind him, and our season is not going to go down the crapper like it did this year because, like with the Bengals, they were doing good. Andy Dalton goes down, and then they tank.
The team, I think, following that line of thought that should grab him as a backup quarterback is the New York Jets. Mm-hmm. They've got a young rookie.
Just follow Gase.
Yeah, follow Gase. He knows the system. He's been in it for a while. Get him there. Let him coach up Darnold a little bit. He'll be a backup. There's no question about it. Darnold is the starter. Tannehill is going to just be a backup. I mean, they've got Josh McCown. I don't know if he's still on his contract or if he's done.
He's the ultimate journeyman.
Which he is, and he's also one of those good mentor type of quarterbacks to be back there.
Well, yeah, because he's a gym teacher. Yeah. He's got that teaching experience.
Yeah, gym teacher teaching, But he's just that guy who knows the offense already. He knows how Gase likes to run things.
Josh McCown is not. They would have to re-sign him.
So just go get Tannehill. Why not?
Man, Josh McCown is going to be 40. He's 39 right now. He's going to be 40 in 2019.
You think he goes back to teaching when he's done?
Hey, maybe.
Or he's just like, I made enough money.
Wasn't it the Bears? Didn't the Bears sign him right off of teaching?
Yeah.
Like, he was teaching, then went to the Bears, and then stayed in the league a little bit more. But, like, yeah, and, like, what do you think? Do you think that some team that's looking for a starting quarterback is going to look for Tannehill, or is he going to be relegated to backup?
The only team that does it is a team that drafts him, that signs him and drafts somebody. Like, who signs him and then drafts Drew Lock.
Okay.
A guy who can be wait and see, or maybe he wins the job. Yeah. We'll see what happens. That's the only way I can see a team maybe going to start Ryan Tannehill. I think he's just going to be at a point where people are just going to be ready to move on to the next thing. Ryan Tannehill's had a couple of injured years, and he's also
hasn't played a full season since 2015, and he missed 2017 completely.
Exactly, and he's just kind of not been able to impress enough. So I think teams are going to be ready to move on to the next thing.
It blows my mind because his stats aren't really like. Yes, there are some stats in 2018 that are lower than his averages. Like, for example, yards per game. But, like, you look at most of them, and I go, he's not that bad.
No, he's an average. He's an average to good quarterback. It's just that people aren't looking for average to good that often. They're looking for something better, something great. I mean, you think about some of those quarterbacks like Tyrod Taylor, who did really well in Buffalo and now is a backup quarterback. Trevor Siemian had his opportunity to do well, and he did pretty well for the most part, and then it kind of started to fall apart, and people were like, all right, you're a backup now for the rest of your life. And that's it. You don't have that much of a leash in the NFL if you're a quarterback. Once people have decided, nope, you're done, you're done.
No, and I'm looking, of course we've talked about the quarterback-needy teams a lot, but
and we're going to do it again probably pretty soon.
I'll ask this question. I know that there was an article this week that apparently Cam Newton could be back for the start of training camp. If Carolina shuts down Cam Newton,
no to Ryan Tannehill.
Do they bring in Ryan Tannehill?
No, I think if you're going to do that, you have to get someone who has somewhat of the same game as Cam Newton. You can't go and get Ryan Tannehill, a completely different player.
If you shut down Ryan, let's say they shut down Cam Newton, do you even go to sign a veteran, or do you do the Indianapolis Colts route of, you know what, we're just going to play with what we got, and if we get the first overall pick, that's great?
I think you'd be more inclined to do that. I mean, you're in a tough division. Just play what you got. Believe in the team. You've got a good defense. Your team is built to have a good defense and a good running game. Work with that.
Because, the thing that it's humorous, but, you look at the AFC East, Tom Brady's there. The Dolphins would obviously be cutting him. Josh Allen and Darnold. Then you look at the North. Lamar Jackson, Andy Dalton, Baker Mayfield, Big
Gonna run
Ben.
through every team's quarterbacks.
Yeah, I will. Deshaun Watson, Andrew Luck, Blake Bortles / free agent that they get with Jacksonville. They could even sign Ryan Tannehill. And then Mariota. The Raiders are interesting, but like I'd rather have Derek Carr than Ryan Tannehill. Like the thing for
Even
Tannehill,
if you don't like Derek Carr, you can't see that Ryan Tannehill as an improvement.
If I'm the Raiders, if I don't like Derek Carr, I draft Kyler Murray, or I draft Dwayne Haskins. Like it's that easy. The only team, like how I see it, is the only team, mainly because like I see Jacksonville being the one that lands Nick Foles. The only team I see giving him a shot if they're going to for a starting role is Washington. And that's only because with me in Washington, like I said, they need a veteran guy to come in. But they may even say, well, we didn't get Nick Foles. Let's trade for Joe Flacco.
Alex Smith, injured. Colt McCoy, injured. Ryan Tannehill, injured. It's just not worth it if you're the Washington Redskins.
But, and that's the thing that's the rock in a hard place with them. They need to do something. They need to do
Nick
something
Foles
at quarterback. And, hey, maybe it's offering
but they can't get him.
The best package.
That's the problem. They need the guy like Nick Foles because Joe Flacco is not going to be that much better than a Ryan Tannehill.
And it's not impossible. It's very unlikely.
They go to the draft.
It's very unlikely. Yeah, they could.
They have to. They've got to do something in the draft, even if it is a Drew Lock or a Daniel Jones.
I'll ask you this to kind of end it. When we get to next year, Ryan Tannehill, is he starting, benching, free agent?
I'm gonna say he's riding the bench.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, but he's
you almost wanted to say he wouldn't get signed, right?
No, I wanted to say that he would start because the rookie would be learning still.
Okay.
And it would have been a rookie like a Drew Lock or something like that.
I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna say he is the starting quarterback of the Washington Redskins next year because I think that the Jaguars are going to lock up Nick Foles. And I think that a team like the Broncos are going to go ahead and make a trade for Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to lose out on Flacco. They're going to lose out on Nick Foles. They're going to be panicking and have to do something. And that's why they go ahead and get Ryan Tannehill in free agency while maybe doing what you do or doing what you said and drafting a quarterback as well. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in that comment section. Dolphin fans, first off, I know what you guys are thinking, but I'm going to ask you the same thing. Should Brian Flores come in and go, hey, Ryan, you're done? Or should he reevaluate him and say, no, you know what? I want to win. I ain't going to come in here and blatantly try to tank. No, you're going to be our quarterback. And then if he gets cut, this is for everyone, where should Ryan Tannehill get signed and which team should go after him this offseason?